Welcome to the Who Would Watch This mini episodes. That's right, we're taking what you love, less. Less. There's a lot less of it.
That's right, every fortnight you're going to get less of us, but higher energy.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. We're on many things, and let's see how it goes.
Oh, God. Oh, and we're beginning with Cheaper by the Dozen.
This is just dropped on Disney+.
Yep.
It's the third remake of Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yep.
Carl and I didn't... I mean, it's got bad reviews, but we didn't want to do it as an episode.
I watched it for Zachy B.
Yep,
I'm a big Zach Braff fan.
I'm a big...
Gabriel
Union fan.
You love Bring It On.
Freaking love Bring It On. Carl and I started watching it.
Yes.
It probably should be a whole full Who Would Watch This episode, but we refused to finish it. So this is our hour-long review of
Cheaper by the Dozen. That's right. It currently has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 35%, an IMDb score of 3.9, and a Letterboxd rating at 2.2. Oscar, what's the plot?
The raucous exploits of a blended family of 12, the Bakers, as they navigate a hectic home life while simultaneously managing their family business.
I know what I learned from this film. I don't want fucking 12 kids. That
no.
sounds like a nightmare. I don't even want friends, because apparently they'll just offload their kids to you if you die.
This probably should be a Who Would Watch This episode, because it starts off just on a different level.
It's intense. It's intense. I thought I was in for an instant classic until it almost immediately runs out of steam. But the quick little catch-up that the movie does, where they're just like...
Here's, by the way, I mean, like, the first, the Cheaper by the Dozen 2003, is just like, they have kids, you know what happened, they boinged. There's like...
her recounting, she's like, we did it at the gym, boom, twins, we fucked at the race course, boom, triplets.
God, he nutted, spetting, oh God, right into the coochie.
I don't believe that Steve Martin would have such good a quality sperm, that they would just...
Whoa, Steve Martin fucks.
Sorry.
Hard.
His hair's too white. If you've got that...
That's how much cum he has. It's leaking out of his hair follicles. The man's cummy. His hair just gels back.
Well, the director's like, needs to be scientifically accurate. We need a star with white hair, and I will not dye it.
Tom Hanks with a bleach blonde, like,
It's a really bizarre setup.
Yeah,
this film.
so the film's like, all right, we've got a bunch of kids. They're all, like, racially ambiguous.
Clearly, the studio was like, we want a Cheaper by the Dozen that is a mixed race family, but more than what the two parents are. So you've got to figure out a way to have other ethnicities in the family, even though it's not them. And for some reason, adopting more kids was out of the question.
No, exactly. Not just like we just felt like we need a bigger home. Let's go through the kids. We get introduced. Zach Braff is marrying a woman from college. He has 2 daughters of her.
Yeah.
One's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Okay? Their marriage, great.
It's going so well.
Yeah.
Like they're in like a 1-bedroom apartment in New York,
but they're making it work.
They've got one of those relationships in movies where they're like, we don't have much, but it's enough, and you're just like, this isn't a way to live.
Oh, God.
There's feces everywhere. You're clearly smoking so much. Like, there's just like one of those things where you're like, should your kids be taken off of you? Not should you have 12 now?
No, exactly. I can't believe they went, wow, we're in financial ruin. I guess another 10 will do. Let's jump into how and the reason why this film might be a masterpiece.
Oh, it's definitely giving Joey King a run for her money in terms of narration. That is just like, can you juggle multiple tones? And Zach Braff being like, I did it for years on Scrubs, and they're like, not like this, you haven't.
I can't stress you. When Carl and I heard this, our mouths were open wide.
Agape.
Yeah.
We paused it, rewinded, and yelled for others to run into the room to witness it. We were that shell-shocked by it.
Okay, so essentially, all is happy, and then Zach Braff and his wife bring home an Indian boy. He's like, our friend died in a car accident. We had to take the boy.
Hit by a drunk driver. Like, they're going so far to the point of, like, they've got to explain it.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like, it could have even been more, like, I think it would have been so funny if it was like, and then one of our friends had to go to a hotel in the winter with his wife and kid. And he didn't want to work hard or play anymore. He got crazy and got an axe. And he freezed to death. And you know what? She bled to death too. So we had to adopt Danny.
Danny. He's a bit of fun.
He's a bit of fun.
In the same sentence, Zach Braff then goes, the marriage didn't work.
Oh, it's such a are both of your friends dead? Oh, have you got another kid to take care of that you didn't expect? Oh, does your wife hate you?
So just remember, the wife is now divorced with Zach Braff. Don't worry, she's in the film.
Don't worry, she's sticking around for all of it. She nannies the kids, even the ones that aren't hers.
Literally. Anyway, so then Zach Braff meets his new wife in a diner.
Yeah.
The kids are causing a fucking stink.
This is also where we find out he has the best sauce.
Oh,
he has such good sauce.
Don't.
She's like, this is great sauce. And he's like, oh yeah, smear it on jam.
Wow,
that's right, it's
sweet,
sauce with jam.
Sweet, it's salty, but tangy.
Oh, the last thing I'd want to have is a random person's sweet and salty sauce. That sounds like the grossest thing in the world. It sounds like what Steve Martin used to get those 12 kids pumped out of Bonnie Hunt in the original Cheaper by the Dozen.
Zach Braff approached him. So what did you? He's like, special sauce. Is that like a no?
He's like, what do you think it is? And he's like, got 12 kids hooked up to the back, and I'm milking them.
We're producing kilos, liters.
We're gonna be richer by the dozen. I'm getting another 12 loaded in next week. Got new harnesses. They're more uncomfortable. Produces more.
It's like the screams from Monsters Inc. But no, pain does actually produce more energy. That's the thing. Anyway, so he meets his wife at the diner. She's like, you know what you should do? Make a bad economic decision. Instead of just breakfast once at the time, do it all at the time.
She comes in, she's like, you want to make less money and corner the market more so that you're cutting out people that want 2 different meals? Only breakfast foods. Make the restaurant bigger. Take down the walls. We'll get married here too.
Here are my 3 kids. They're getting chucked in with your 3.
Your 3 kids immediately think you're lame, but I'm gonna settle anyway. And it's like her ex-husband's like a pro footballer.
Yes.
Intense.
He's the villain of the film.
Yeah.
I
we suspect. I don't know. I turned the film off.
No, we don't. I assume
he might. Zach Braff might be the one that's the villain. I don't know.
He's pretty much very villainous in this film. And then finally they shit out 4 more.
I don't know
what are we up to.
6. I don't know. I was very confused because I think it was like there's 10 or something, and then you're like, there's 2 missing, and then I think there's 1 on the way.
There's 11. I remember we counted 11.
Yeah, there's 11, and
we
then
assumed there'd be another one coming.
Yeah, they get like a juvie one. One that's like fresh from juvie or something.
They go to the pound, which is their juvenile detention.
They go to get a dog, but they just adopt the kid that works at the pound. They're like, we'll take you. And he's like, I'm not for sale. I've got parents. And they're like, we don't care. Have our sweet and salty sauce.
You're going to be looking at a diner for many hours.
You want to be milked? You look plump. Hook him up.
So that's the film. We've got...
That's the film. And that's a succinct summary of all of the films, the monologue of how they get the kids.
Oh, but then we're pretty much introduced, we're 30 minutes in, and it's boring pretty much.
Oh my god, it's so much of it's like, your stepdad bought your Nikes, and Zach Braff's intimidated by this concept. They have a dance-off for so long.
God, they mentioned TikTok 40 times.
Oh my god, it's produced by TikTok, I assume.
Yeah. Well, pretty much, Zach Braff is, intimidated by her ex-husband. While it turns out that his drunk ex-wife is pretty much nannying these kids, but she's playing a shitty babysitter character.
She shouldn't have been. It's weird. She plays it like she doesn't love children at all.
No, but she birthed them. It's
funny too because I think the stepdad comes back and he's intimidated because the stepdad's going to be back in the lives, and Gabriel Union's like, their stepmama lives here.
Yeah, she
nannying
no
them.
Rent.
Yeah.
She eats all our fucking good snacks.
She eats all the good snacks. All she does is watch RuPaul. She's constantly on All Stars. She's not even checking out the original series,
which is the best one. I mean, come on.
There's 14 seasons of it. She's replaying the same 7. Yeah, and so basically his sauce is apparently so good that people want to auction it to be in a supermarket.
Yeah.
He goes in. He's in a beautiful suit and tie.
Gorgeous.
It looks stunning. Yeah. I assume it's Armani.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't afford Armani.
Zach Braff could afford
It's probably just painted on.
Hey kids, you have loose paint?
Yeah, you guys got thick tar we can mold into a jacket?
The TikTok girl's like, yeah.
I've got DIY TikTok. Of course I know how to do it. Glitter bomb. he gets everybody's a millennial, so
Yeah.
they look rad. They don't look put
raggedy.
together.
They're all wearing Doc Martens and painted overalls.
They're all like, you know how it's like the new version of like millennials in the workplace? Everyone's just riding scooters.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a functioning workplace.
It's what Google is. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, we're pretty funky.
But do we
here.
think that's a myth?
What do you mean?
It's like that's like the front doors of Google are like, it's fun, you can relax anywhere you want as long as you're doing your work. There's games to be had, but once you go past those doors, it's just a grim workplace
It's
like
all
any
those like
other.
awful cubicles, just
Yeah.
like we tricked you. The slides are real. It's a
It's like
hologram.
The Incredibles, where
Yeah.
like he works. It's like that, where they've sucked color. They're like, all the colors in the Google logo. I'm sorry, all we've got left here are grays and whites.
I mean, there's no racial profiling, but it's a lot of grey violence.
There's a lot of gray on gray violence. Yeah, so he has a panic. He goes into his like, I don't know,
shitty minivan.
Oh
God,
my
it's
god!
awful.
It's the thing about me growing old is, what if I have to settle for a minivan, Oscar? What if I have to get out of my Ferrari? That's right. And I have to check that. That's what. Who knew we were rich? We're the 1%ers.
We're talking down to you commoners now.
That's right. We watch Cheaper by the Dozen. That's right. We stooped to you. Did you guys stay in on a Friday night? Yeah, we were out partying.
Just finger banging our Ferraris.
Oh my god, I
good.
was bumping shoulders with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. We're in a three couple now, a thruple if you will.
It's hot, it's tasteful, and my god, the Ferraris smashed into each other. It's tasteful.
Oh my god, here's how I parked my two Ferraris today, just one on top of the other. I drove it up on the back like it was humping it. That's the power I have. So if one of my 30,000 wives is like checking in for a minivan, I'm like, no, I'll get a train.
You've 30,000 wives, but 2 cars. two two-seater cars.
I never get to drive it. I'm not even in the schedule. They get it all.
They keep vetoing out weeks. I tried to get it for Christmas for 2027. I'm cut. You should get a minivan. You should have a
I have to
horde
wait.
of
I have to
wives.
wait for 10,000 of them to die before I get my turn.
Anyway, Zach Braff's back at the place. He dresses like
He looks revolting. If I saw this man walking down the street, I'd avoid eye contact.
I'd shoot him. I'll say it right now.
Oh my god, you can't say that, but yes.
Oh, I can't say that. There's the line. Shooting Zach Braff's the line for this podcast.
You can't. He's America's sweetheart.
He
Zach
is.
Braff.
Season 9 of Scrubs. Oh.
No, not that one. The others. Any of the others.
Anyway, he walks in. It's like probably like the most like if it wasn't in this film, it is one of the heart-wrenchingest like scenes. So cringe. Show out of his place. He has like palm cards. He's shaking.
It's near Curb Your Enthusiasm, where you're just like, well, how is this family humor?
Yeah.
Not sitting down with my kids to watch Cheaper by the Dozen on a Friday night, only to see a family harrowingly struggling to pay the rent and him embarrassing himself in a corporate world.
Oh, it's so pathetic. They take the deal. Zach Braff, I don't think knows how business works because they pretty much go, hey man, here's $1 million for you to start up your business. Zach Braff goes, I got the golden ticket, wife. I've got the golden ticket. We're going to be rich. We're going to buy a big house and every child will have many rooms, a Ferrari for all. And the wife's like, hey, wasn't that money for the business? He's like, shut up. We're going to move to the mansion.
He's like, shut up, we're upgrading, yet the business goes smoothly anyway. It's like the next scene, he's in the supermarket, the same supermarket, even though they've moved.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what's this? Sweet and savory? And everybody around him's like, I've never heard of such a sauce. And
Zach Braff's face is on the sauce, and they're like, well, that kind man wouldn't be wrong. Wouldn't
Yeah, I know,
steer me
right?
wrong. We're about 50 minutes in. Not much has happened, and yet you're just overloaded. You're just angry.
We're not even into the point that because they've moved to a new neighborhood, there's just racial profiling.
Yeah,
now.
this is a bit of the film that we pretty much were like, okay, where's this going? Because we had 40 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And it was still going on. And
I was disinterested. There wasn't even a 12th child yet.
No. So you know, it's a shitty baker's dozen.
If I pay...
That's
for
why
Disney
that's
Plus.
why they call the bakers.
That's why they call the bakers.
Oh
the
my
Baker's
God,
Dozen.
that's clever.
Cheaper by the Baker's Dozen should have
my
been the
God.
third one.
Yeah.
That would have been good. Because everybody knows a Baker's Dozen. It's 13.
13.
Yeah,
So it's pretty much this white security guard comes up to the house and is like, hey, do you live here? And sort of harassing them and very uncomfortable. I'm not really sure what the film's trying to do here.
Again, I don't really know if this is what I want to be watching with my family when I ask for a cheaper by the dozen film.
Here's the thing, definitely an important message, but again...
is this the movie to...
Well, it's 50 minutes of, like, not really that, but also Zach Braff has this weird bit with, like, the ex-husband who's black.
Yeah.
And is, like, weirdly intimidated by him. It feels kind of wrong that they're kind of going down that path, but also going down this path.
Yeah. I think if I wanted my kids to be introduced through a family film into, racial issues, Zootopia's probably the one I would show them.
Yeah.
Not Cheaper by the Dozen 2022.
No, but Cheaper by the Dozen 2.
Oh, Cheaper by the Dozen. Everything to do with that other family. Taylor Lautner's there.
It really captures, like, the racial, like, tension in
That
America.
totally gets it. Yeah, that one's good. Oscar, what happens when after we turned it off? Should we look it up?
Let's look it up. Let's figure out what the fuck this movie is going to become.
I'm curious to see where it goes, because there hadn't really been much conflict, nor had there really been a plot established. Oh, you know what? A girl that was good at basketball is getting way more interested in her biological father than the stepdad.
Oh no. One of the boys, get this, is getting bullied at school for being ethnic.
Jesus.
Okay.
What?
He then learns to fight.
Oh.
Oh my god, the sister's in rehab? I'm not making
Read it out. Read it out.
Okay. All right. Upon arriving, they move to a bigger gated community. Upon arriving, Zoe arrives to feel the effect of racial profiling, especially after meeting her neighbor Anne. Paul suddenly gets a call informing him that his sister's Rachel has checked into rehab, forcing him to take his nephew Seth. So they have to take they're taking another fucking child of a friend.
They're not a charity, all
Yeah.
right? He's only just hit the big time. He can't look after your kid as well.
He's
Why
got
don't you
his
take
sauce. He's got his special sauce to deal with.
take him to rehab with you?
Why do they keep throwing in these rogue deaths and like very serious problems?
Why can't they just have 12 kids? Just have 12 kids. What's wrong with that?
I don't think Zach Braff.
Would we not believe Zach Braff is capable of... He doesn't have white hair.
He doesn't have white hair.
Doesn't have white hair,
He's
so
max
he couldn't
3.
do it.
He's max 3.
I never understood why the plot of Cheaper by the Dozen wasn't actually just, like, beginning to end the process of having 12 kids.
You wanted Steve Martin to fuck 12 times on camera.
Yeah.
Or 11 times. That's
Hey,
twins.
I want it to be vaguely off. I want them to begin fucking and then it pans away 12 times. That's what I want it to be. I want, like, the first to second thrust before a pan.
A pan and out of focus, pull out of focus, but then it pulls back out of focus. It's just them in bed 17 months later, like, should we go again?
Should we go again? He rolls over on top of her, pans and pulls out of focus.
I want to see what happens when they fucked and got that kind of weird kid with the glasses.
Oh yeah, the
I
one that's
feel like-
obsessed with frogs.
I feel like he got like a
He got like a cramp.
yeah, he got like a cramp where he came. He's
It
like,
comes back into focus, and he's like, "That one's not gonna be a good one." He's just like rubbing his calf. He's like, it's such a long cramp." So that's their 12th kid, but it's not even their kid.
It's not even their kid.
So
but
when the sister gets out of rehab, wouldn't they be back to 11? So then the dozen doesn't even work.
She can't. She apparently Wikipedia that she overdoses.
She's
on
no,
heroin.
it doesn't, does it?
It's a 20-minute scene. It's harrowing, uncut.
Breaking Bad-esque. Somebody stands over and is like, "He'll be happier without you," and she chokes on her vomit.
Zach Braff pouring the sauce into her mouth. Choke, you bitch.
She's like, "Oh god, it's a good way to go out because it's sweet and salty." What's the resolution to everything? What happens in the end?
A lot more crime happens.
More crime?
Yeah, one of the kids starts stealing from the restaurant.
Ugh.
Oh, so I get this. The kid who's a thief, and
Yep.
he's a thief, gets lost. You remember like the first Cheaper by the Dozen, how that kid kind of goes running away?
Yeah.
That's pretty much them finding him and accepting him.
Where they basically do the exact same thing.
Yeah, except they have a weird rehab / car crash / thief /
Oh my
ethnic.
god. It's weird because in the original one that's like in the 1950s,
50s.
yeah, from memory, the dad dies.
And the wife has to do it all by herself.
Yeah, so it's like That seems like a more interesting complication is having 12 kids.
I'll be honest, I feel like the 2003 film nailed it. Just let's have some fun hijinks with 12 children.
Oh, no, let's have Ashton Kutcher be a force to be reckoned with. Oscar, who would watch Cheaper by the Dozen in 2022?
Oh man, I mean, if you're a big fan of Yours, Mine and Ours, it's not as good as this because that's a great film, and dare I say, the better Cheaper by the Dozen.
Absolutely not. You were raised wrong if you were raised on Yours, Mine and Ours.
Gives a performance that is untethered.
Is a sentence nobody's ever said.
Dennis Quaid's agent.
People usually say Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid gives an untethered performance.
It's a tour de force, Randy Quaid. Dennis?
You would never think Dennis and Randy were related.
I think...
Which one of us is the Dennis and which one's the Randy?
I think we're both his third brother. Dylan Quaid.
Dylan Quaid.
Yeah, he doesn't do much.
He lives a nice life.
He lives a nice life, very chilled.
Out of the limelight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of sponges, aren't they? Really got both demographics. Dennis Quaid's military movies. Is that what he does?
I don't know what he does.
No.
I don't know what he does at all.
Well, he nails it in every role. So that's
he does
what
A Dog's Purpose.
Oh, he's great in that.
Yeah.
I assume.
Are we saying this movie's for not for Dennis, for Dylan?
No, I was going to say, honestly, if you're interested, watch the first 5 minutes, then turn it off. We mistakenly watched this for 50 minutes extra.
Yeah. I'm going to say do the reverse. Watch the last 40 minutes and just try and catch up.
And email us through. What's the plot? Next week, we're back to our classic full Who Would Watch This episode.
That's right. You can enjoy this, but for an hour.
Yeah.
An hour.
You're like, wow, this already ended? Crazy. If only there was an hour.
Time flies when you're having fun or when Oscar and Carl are lazy.
Lazy. That's the thing about us.
You can join us next week when we review
Dwayne Johnson's classic
Skyscraper. I think we've been promising this at the end of a lot of episodes. Yeah. So it's fun that we're going to finally get to it.
Finally get to it. Lucky you guys, huh?
Huh? It's you we're talking about.
That's right. You.
I'm pointing at you.
Me?
No, them.
Oh.
Us. You don't know, but we're surrounded by mirrors.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's an absolute daunting experience to look at yourself just scream into a mic.
Cage of emotion. It's terrifying.
I'm not too happy. I don't know why we installed it so high up on the ocean.
Especially because it just rebounds sound so much.
Who knew stained glass pretty much so not audio compatible?
I know. People told us to just buy a bunch of cats.
Yeah, they absorb the
sound.
Audio,
I love sound.
Yeah. Does take a while to edit out the meows though, so we just kind of muted them.
Sorry, that was a dog. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.